I'm Alanna Kelly, and thank you for being here on day 4 of Glacier Media's special coverage of the BC wildfires. Finally, rain, and no matter where you are in the province, you're probably experiencing lots of this smoke everywhere, and it's causing issues for mapping the fires. But first, let's take a look at the numbers. Paquito spends 3 days working here and then heads home every night to Richmond. Alanna Kelly, Glacier Media, North Vancouver. The search for 3 missing people who went on a mountaineering trip in Garibaldi Provincial Park continues today. Helicopters were able to take off and are searching the area, but getting to Atwell Peak is proving to be tricky. The locations of the pilot project can't be revealed for security reasons, but this technology could soon be deployed at all BC prisons. Alanna Kelly, Glacier Media, Vancouver. This device allows officers to be further back from their subjects. Good?
Officer ready?
Ready.
Deploy.
If you want to see these animals in person, you might soon be in luck because a facility tour is underway. Alanna Kelly, Glacier Media, Surrey. No more. Cremation in here takes up to 8 hours, and it can accommodate someone who is 6'6" and 400 pounds.
Once they see it, once they can touch it, their loved one, they understand that they're in there, you can touch it.
And I'm still haven't got answers to it should be a simple answer for why did you do this to my daughter's body, the cremation end of it.
Picton was convicted of 6 murders in 2007, even though he had been charged with murdering 26 women.
I'm not surprised, he died, but he's been dead for a long time.
CTV's Alanna Kelly reports on the alarming acts of cruelty and a warning the images may be disturbing for some viewers.
The pictures are hard to look at. Sea lions washed up on shore, decapitated. Deborah Short was walking along the beach in Nanaimo when she discovered one.
The head had clearly been severed, and because there was still a piece of the spine attached, it looked like it had been, cut off.
That was 2 months ago. Since then, at least 4 more headless animals have been found, one with a skull placed beside its carcass. Animal activists are calling for necropsies to determine exactly how the sea lions died. Alanna Kelly, CTV News, Victoria.
They're confident that they could have it hooked up very, very quickly.
Each sprinkler only costs $45, and soon half of this community will have them installed. Alanna Kelly, Glacier Media, Logan Lake.
Come on, girl, hey.
To be a rancher means seeing a threat to your land and riding straight at it.
Wiggle.
A livelihood of land and livestock, but it's more than that.
This ranch itself is, my dad bought it, and then now I'm coming in. But family has been up this valley for a long time.
Threatened by a billowing, burning menace, wildfires casting a devilish glow over God's country.
The ranchers are out there busting their butts. They're out there early in the morning to get their animals out of the way, and we're doing the best we can to try and save as much as we possibly can.
Chris Haywood Farmer runs the ranch.
That is a family name.
And on this day, family is safe, but that could change with the shift of the wind. The Tremont, Sparks, and Durant wildfires are all ripping through their pastures.
All 3 fires are affecting us pretty heavily on our daily life.
So every day, Chris saddles up and rides through the fires to protect the herd.
Biggest concern is just the well-being and the safety of the animals. That's kind of our number 1 concern, actually. That's all it is.
Pushing them towards safety, a delicate dance as they eat through precious feed.
Right now, they're moving onto the grass that they would be using in October, November. If this fire keeps going, they'll be coming home, and the hay that you're making, you'll be feeding to the cows.
A 16-year-old girl has vanished while she was hiking in British Columbia. Esther Wang was hiking Golden Ears Provincial Park with 3 other people as part of a youth activity yesterday. The terrain that they are searching in is mountainous, forested, and difficult, and that's why they're asking the public to leave the searching up to the experts.
When we have more information, we'll let you know.
And it's not just here. Raging water, mudslides, and widespread flooding spans across BC as a furious storm rages on.
This case very well may result in significant changes to the system.
Hopley now remains in custody. Alanna Kelly, Glacier Media, Vancouver.
Had an uninvited guest show up.
A 500-pound guest that came to crash their party.
It was actually over my shoulder. I just kind of turned around and there was this great big head there.
She walks on all fours and came from 20 minutes away. Her name is Tina. A celebrity-owned resort in Ucluelet is up for sale and could be yours for a couple $1 million. North is drying rapidly, so it's
so dangerous.
Yes, high danger for wildfires. So right away I was able to X that off from the safest place. Okay. Then if you look at earthquakes like you talked about, if we look at that map, it shows Vancouver Island and Vancouver in the red, so a high danger. So instantly I was able to say, okay, places on Vancouver Island, not the safest, including Vancouver. So I was able to eliminate those places.
And what about Richmond, BC? I feel like I've been told that it would just dissolve when the big one is to hit.
So what I learned was that's all to do with the soil. So it's that loose, soft soil. So if an earthquake or a tsunami happened, there would be a lot of liquefaction. All 6 police officers are now out of the hospital, but only 3 of them have returned back to protect the community. Why these 2 men chose to carry out their gunfire in Saanich will never be known. Alanna Kelly, Glacier Media, Saanich. Now, I voted actually at this polling station behind me. You can see there's no line. And also BC Transit is offering free rides tonight to any polling station, so there is no excuse why you can't get out and vote. Now, one last thing, if you have one of these guys, the mail-in ballot, you can drop it off at any polling station across the province tonight until 8. Andrew?
Okay, Alanna Kelly reporting live tonight. Thank you.
Good evening. We begin in Tofino, where the highway closure that's cut off West Coast communities has reached its 3rd day.
Be dead today or tomorrow. I know that.
Both of the men's fathers are speaking out today, revealing new facts about the 2 alleged killers still on the run. And the snow is going to stick around all week long, providing the youngsters with a lot more of this.
If it weren't for this program, I don't know what would become of me right now.
It also gave another prisoner a new outlook on life.
It's been extremely impactful. Like, I think it's definitely changed like my time being in and my outlook of being in. It's a really lonely place to be sometimes.
People all across BC are finding it difficult to get a family doctor. Packing up and taking off. Doing what no drone has done before in BC. Inside are prescriptions and medical supplies, and they're being delivered to the doorsteps of people in the most remote corners of our province. Despite a few altercations that took place, both sides made their voices heard. Alanna Kelly, Glacier Media, Vancouver.
I've worked on a few large cats, lynx, bobcat, leopard, lion.
He scoped out a job that no one else really does.
I spent about 20 years of my career working in emergency setting, emergency and critical care. At the time, there was no one who we could call and who would come and reliably do it.
Performing about 15 procedures a week, he's busy, with some animal owners even traveling to him from the States.
I've had a few patients from Alberta, I had a few patients from Washington.
Now he's got a bone to pick with small balls.
Please don't give little check-it ball to your Labrador, because chances are he or she will meet me sooner or later.
And he's sure you'd also rather not meet him. Alanna Kelly, Glacier Media, Vancouver.
She yells out, "Oh my God, something just licked the window."
Bravely opening the door, the culprit appeared.
And she goes, "Johnny, there's a goat out there." And I said, "No way." And she goes, "Yeah."
Not only did the goat make a mess, it wouldn't leave, clearly happy with its new home.
There have been occasions where I have helped to mediate conversation with healthcare teams, so bringing healthcare teams and family together.
Filling the gaps and taking on the emotional side of death.
How do we fill those in a way that really holistically takes care of the emotions of the people?
For Steele, having a death doula was essential.
There was no fear in my heart. I knew I wasn't alone.
A brother is sharing a heartfelt tribute to his sister, Devin Gale. Gale was working as a BC Wildfire Service firefighter when she was struck by a tree and died. She was 19 years old.
Bush had constant behavioral issues. We reported them on a number of occasions where they were ignored by upper management.
The guard says James Lee Bush was showing aggression. He moved rooms multiple times and even sucker punched a roommate. Staff wanted him transferred, but the officer says upper management refused.
Alanna Kelly is live now with more. Alanna, this officer is taking a risk coming forward. Why is he doing it?
Andrew, he wants two things: the vetting process changed to allow the warden to turn away overrides or inmates that are sent to them. He's also demanding more security. He says the old fence with barbed wire should be returned to keep prisoners inside. Since the escape, CSC relocated 9 inmates from William Head, including Bush and Armitage, to medium security facilities. They also added more headcounts, but the officer says this still leaves plenty of time for inmates to simply walk away. 2 murderers who killed a stranger in his own house are back behind bars. Justice David Crossan called the killing of 60-year-old Martin Payne senseless, cowardly, and grotesque.
What is closed is the trial and that part of it, so we know that they're guilty.
Alanna, what does it look and feel like where you are?
Well, you can tell just as you asked that it is quite windy here. We are right in the middle of a storm on Vancouver Island.
For the first time, CTV's Alanna Kelly speaks with the family of the woman who died and learns more about the weeks leading up to her death.
It's been 3 days since Glenn Hamilton last saw his sister.
We had plans. We were going to go look at some horse farms over here this week and find a place for a horse.
Jennifer Quinnell had been staying with her brother in Sydney after leaving her husband 2 weeks earlier. A Canadian snowbird's plane crashed this afternoon. How the pilot is doing and where it happened tonight on CTV News. Good evening and welcome to a special New Year's Eve edition of CTV News. Thanks for joining us.
And their snipers and their canine units out of Wet'suwet'en territory.
And here in Victoria, they could leave tonight. Is that a possibility?
I really couldn't say. They're deliberating right now, so the outcome of that is anybody's guess.
Okay, thank you, Nikki, for speaking with us. To put a stop to racist behavior towards Island First Nations members, people are sharing an image. Therapist in Saanich?
I am.
What do you have to say about the allegations against you? Victoria police say they'll continue to issue tickets for these types of offenses. And as for the man, he says he's being evicted and plans to fight the ticket.
All my neighbors hate me.
What do you have to say to people that are worried?
It's all propaganda, man.
Alanna's live tonight at CFB Esquimalt. Alanna, people in the community are really stepping up to help Earl's family and especially his kids.
Yes, Andrew, a GoFundMe that was set up by Earl's friends has already raised over $20,000 since it was set up yesterday. Now, that money will be divided equally between his 3 children.
There are many people who don't like what I do or don't like the way I say it or don't like my shoes.
Dr. Henry says she's received death threats and has needed security in her home. I'm still here in my Victoria apartment. Today is day 6 out of 14 in quarantine because I've just returned home from Australia. Pulling a scared wet dog onto a surfboard is just as hard as it sounds.
One arm paddled out. I came in with the boat and I grabbed her before she sunk to the bottom because she's so weak.
Creature comfort came when they bundled her in a life jacket and inside a surf bag. She made the journey back home exhausted. The elderly woman who was living in this home is now staying with family members who say she didn't have insurance for the house. Alanna Kelly, CTV News, Souk. You may recognize him by his mittens.
Probably everyone knows about the meme that's been going around.
But this little guy is creating his own buzz.
And as CTV's Alanna Kelly shows us in this first installment of a 2-part series, Indigenous communities pose unique challenges for stopping the spread.
The chief of the Numgis First Nation remembers this sound well.
You don't want to go through it. It was a really scary thing.
With the conditions, the avalanche conditions and the warming of the snow right now, it's been deemed too unsafe for us to continue to be in there on foot.
An aerial search will continue today with crews looking for any signs of the 3 climbers.
We're going to do what we can today, given all the circumstances that are presented and the weather that we have, and then we'll meet throughout the day and try and come up with some new tactics.
The Squamish chief has confirmed the names of the individuals and also where they're from, but out of respect to the family, we will not be releasing these details. What I can tell you is that family and friends have been gathering here for days, waiting for answers. Alanna Kelly, Glacier Media, Squamish. That's it for tonight's edition of CTV News. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.